If you are a woman living with uterine fibroids, one of the symptoms you may be experiencing is depression. While it is still unclear exactly what may be the causative link between the two conditions, enough women experience the two disabling conditions simultaneously to warrant further studies.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Apree. If you are new here, hey girl, hey, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I am so blessed to have you here today. And to my returning subbies, thank you guys so much for your continued support and love. I am overjoyed to have you guys here to talk about this very, very important topic. So take a seat, grab a cup of tea, get you a blanket, and come on in because we've got some really important things to talk about today. Guys, so you already know by the title and by the thumbnail the topic that we are going to be talking about today. Yeah, if you have not watched any of my videos, I'm going to link here my video about how I shrank my fibroids. I have to do this every video because some of you guys are new and you guys are not familiar with my journey. If this is your first time watching my videos and you're new, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. I want to hear your questions and I look forward to your comments. But before you ask a question, go over and take a look at that video and take a look at the playlist that I have on this topic, because 9 times out of 10, I've already answered your question. But if you still have a question after that, hit me up in the comments. I love to hear from you guys. I want to encourage you guys to talk in those comments. That is our community place, okay? It just never fails. You guys just ask me questions about stuff that I already addressed in the video. But it's okay. I love y'all. I love y'all. The second thing that I do want to remind you of, that I'm not a medical professional. I am not a doctor. So first things first, I just want to say really quick, thank you guys so much for your love and support on my last video. I got very emotional in that video. I cried, and that really segues us into this video. And so of course I'm going to recommend that you go over and watch that video. That is the 10 things that I wish I'd known before having fibroid surgery. And I really got very vulnerable in that video, and it kind of triggered me, I think, talking about some of the things. And so I thought to myself, for sure, I've got to do a video on the topic of fibroids and mental health. If you know me, which by now I'm sure you know a bit about me and my tendencies, I research like a crazy person. And apparently depression and uterine fibroids are a co-diagnosis many, many times. If you have uterine fibroids, or if you've known anybody who has struggled with them, you can certainly understand why somebody would become depressed after learning that they have fibroids and or going through the struggle of having fibroids. But apparently in the medical world, they're not sure whether the chicken came before the egg or the egg came before the chicken. And there are studies trying to figure out whether depression can cause uterine fibroids. So we're going to delve into that a little bit. I've got my notes. Gotta stay on track because your girl likes to talk. There was a study done by the University of Boston that was published in the American Journal of Obstetrics Gynecology in 2012. That was a long time ago. But of course, fibroid research is minimal, and probably because most of the people affected by it are brown women. Not going to go on a rant, but they did this study and they found that depression is in fact a risk factor of developing uterine fibroids. Another study was done by AbbVie Pharmaceutical Research and Development, and that study found women who have been diagnosed with uterine fibroids experience anxiety, depression, and self-directed violence at a significantly higher rate than women who have not. That is extremely alarming and very triggering for me. I kind of avoided doing this type of video because I always cry, y'all. I get very emotional because I was her, she is me. And I know that a lot of you guys experience this. I know that personally I went through many depressive episodes when battling my fibroids the first time, and most certainly after they came back, after I had surgery and then they came back. Like, whew, that was very intense for me. And let me take a sip of my tea because I need to take a breath. I don't want to start crying again, y'all. I really don't. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. And most of the studies and the research that I've seen being done on this were in the early mid 2000s. Like, it's 2023. We're gonna need some more studies. Okay, there is a organization that does research for Black women's health. I will put that down in the description bar below so that you can follow it. They're tracking women over a decade or more, something like that, to really study the behaviors and all of the things in Black women with fibroids. Now, I'm not meaning to exclude anybody, because if you are a woman with fibroids, you got issues. This we know. It's just very important for me to say that the way that this country makes it so that women of color, Black and brown especially, disproportionately experience negative impacts and stresses in life that other races do not. Okay, so got to talk about that, because, you know, number one, I have to speak the truth from my perspective as a Black woman, and it is disheartening to know that we are out here struggling with this issue and the research is just not there to help us. So again, number one reason that drives me to make these videos and bring about more conversation on these topics, because it needs to be talked about. Okay, so let's break this down. Why is this happening? Now, as I mentioned just now, there is not a lot of research on this, and most of the studies that I read actually said more research needs to be done, but the findings warrant more research. So one theory that I found about why this might be happening, besides the fact that, you know, you can develop depression after finding out that you have fibroids, is that there's something in us called the HPA. So this is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And apparently this regulates our internal communication system, and it can cause more intense reactions to things, namely reactions to stress, if it goes out of whack. So one study did explore the idea that perhaps it's this HPA that is off kilter and causing depression and anxiety consistently throughout women with uterine fibroids. Another theory is that depression itself can alter hormones, and hormones can cause uterine fibroids. Another theory is that hormones, or imbalanced hormones, can cause both depression and fibroids. Now, are there any solid findings for why this is happening? Not yet. Again, there needs to be more research on this. Right now, there is so much research on PCOS, so much research on endometriosis, and as a whole, because they are conditions that affect women, there is not enough research done on any of them. But I can tell you that there's more information about those conditions out there, clear information about those conditions, than there is about uterine fibroids. I got my own theories on that too, but you know, we're not gonna get sidetracked. If you are experiencing depression, period. I know that in our community, it's still stigmatized, and I pray to God that this stops being a reality for us, because help is out there. It's okay for you to get therapy. I know that a lot of times, if you're religious, your family, your church, etc., tends to go above mental health. And I'm here to tell you today that you don't need anybody's permission to get therapy. Nobody even needs to know that. This is your choice. And I think that try it before you knock it. Okay, and sometimes it can be the type of situation that you may have to try different therapists. The first therapist may not get you, but don't let that discourage you from continuing to seek help in that space, guys, please. So what does depression look like? What are the symptoms of it? And I do want to pop this little note in here before I read this. I read this study, and it surveyed Black women and Black women's response to stress. And a lot of the time that looked like irritation. It looked like lack of emotion and just bearing it. I'm very aware that women of all races probably experience this, but apparently in Black women, it can really look differently than in other races. That is a slippery slope, and I would like to do a video about that. Just basically that societally, that's probably not even a word, but in this society as Black and brown women, we are not allowed the emotional freedom to express our disparity. We are not allowed the emotional space to show that we are in need and that we are in distress. The way that our family situation is set up, a lot of us are head of home. A lot of us are not in a place where we feel safe, being vulnerable, feeling safe, not being strong. We got to stop. We have to stop doing it all. As women as a whole, and especially in my community, we have to stop this whole I can handle it mentality, because sometimes you cannot handle it. And we internalize things, and I'm going to get off on a little spiritual tangent for a second. And internalizing those things, we create sickness in the body. And I'm not saying by any means that your depression or your hurt or your experiences are the reason why you are experiencing fibroids, but I can tell you it ain't helping. I can tell you that for sure. We make ourselves sick by holding emotionally and not allowing ourselves the freedom and the space and the liberty to not have to hold it together all the time. I don't want to get emotional again. But when I think about this, I think about myself. I think about my mother. I think about my grandmother. It's not okay. It's not okay. And we are contributing to this stigma that we don't experience pain, that we aren't sensitive, and that we aren't hurting, and that we don't need help. It's a tough hand we were dealt as is. Okay, I want to start preaching, but it's already hard. Let's not exacerbate this. It's not 1950. It's not 1960. It's not 1970. It ain't 1980. It ain't even 1990. It ain't even 2000. It's okay. It's okay to take the weight off. It's okay to put the shit on your shoulders, take it off for a moment, at least to care for your mental health, if nothing else. Because if you are the head of household, if you are the only one, if nobody has anybody else but you are going to be in no position to help anybody, including yourself, if you are in a bad way mentally. And we walk around with this like it's normal. This is not normal. And I have a lot of very unpopular thoughts and opinions spiritually that I'm not going to get into on this particular video. But I want you to understand that when we are not spiritually aligned, I don't care what you believe in. When we are not spiritually aligned and grounded, this is a time when sickness can attack the body, when sickness can develop within the body. We are vulnerable at that time. Our biology is most vulnerable at that time, especially women, when we have these feelings of PTSD and anxiety and all of these societal pressures and negativity. We internalize and we manifest things, illnesses, sickness, hormone imbalance, etc. through the womb. If you don't believe me, you don't have to. You don't have to go down that path with me, but look it up. I digress. I'm reading from fibroidfighters.org. I love a lot of their information. Symptoms of depression: sadness, weeping, emptiness, or a sense of hopelessness, even over little issues. Angry outbursts, impatience, frustration, loss of pleasure or interest in most all the usual activities that you love doing. Sex, hobbies, sports, whatever you used to like, you just have no vigor for it anymore. You have no taste for the things that used to light your fire. Insomnia or sleeping too much due to exhaustion and lack of energy, like you could sleep a lot and still be tired. Anxiety, agitation, restlessness, reduced or increased food cravings, weight loss or gain, feelings of inadequacy or remorse, slowing down of one's thoughts, speech, or body motions. That's new. I didn't know that. Problems with thinking, concentrating, making decisions, recalling information. Jesus, I also did not know that. Thoughts of harming oneself. Physical issues that aren't explained, such as back pain, migraines, stomach upset sometimes. I think it's very important to mention those things in this video because some of us feel like we didn't even know we were depressed. We just were tired. You know what I mean? Or whatever was going on, but we didn't take that as a sign of maybe I should take this a little bit more seriously. And again, please understand, everybody here, especially if you're watching this video, there's a reason why you're watching this video. There's a reason why you subscribed. You are going through this. You know somebody who's going through this. You empathize with this situation. If you are in the vicinity of this topic of fibroids, you can understand completely why a person would be depressed, as I said before. And it is very, very important for you to know that you're not alone. You are not alone. And that's another reason why I keep doing these videos, because I want to let you know not only that I'm here with you in this struggle, and that I have been there, and I'm climbing my way out of this black hole, and there's a way. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, okay? And there are other women that are experiencing the same thing as you. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to my channel. I am very much trying to build a community of not only women suffering, but also practitioners in healthcare, practitioners, doctors, naturopaths, nutritionists. Please, everybody join. That's the only way that we can create community and be able to bounce things off of each other. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, not having proper support when you're going through fibroids is really, really sad, and it's a bad place to be in. And a lot of us, most of us probably are experiencing that because nobody understands what you're going through. And it could be very well because we keep getting up and trying to do our best every day, and we are refusing to succumb to our circumstances, so to speak. So sometimes when we are strong, it's hard for others to see us in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I remember that I was just dying all the time, pain and just terribleness. And for me, I just withdrew. I just stopped coming around. I stopped going out with my friends. I just stayed in the house. And even for the people around me, my mother and my sister and my partner at the time, even though of course they love you, they really don't get it. And my mom went through them. And the problem is, you know, my mother's generation and my grandmother's generation, they don't think about things in terms of the way that I do. I'm a little bit more progressive and forward thinking, which is what brought me here, which is what brought me to seek the natural solutions and the ways that I have found to manage my fibroids and keep them under control. If I had thought like my mom, no offense to my mother or anybody else's mother, but this is how they're raised. If I thought like her, I would have probably gotten surgery again, or I would have probably just gotten a hysterectomy. Please understand. I'm not trying to offend anybody. What I'm saying is sometimes we have to open our mind to different things and experiences in order to experience something different. If we stick with what we know always, always, it's harder for us to discover new ways of living, new ways of new solutions, new ways of doing things. And my mother's generation and her mother's generation, I think, and even to a degree my generation, just did what people told them to do, did what society tells you to do. But the new generation, my sister's generation, and even some people in my generation, we are freer of mind. And that is no offense to anybody. It's just that thing that we've always wanted, that freedom that we have wanted as women and black women. It's here. I don't know if it's going to be short-lived, because look at the legislation. Look at the war on women. Look at the war on our uterus. Look at our current state, especially as a country. Take advantage of this moment that we don't have to do things the way we had to. And we are living in an information age. We are living in a time where the answers are there. There are alternatives. So I'm saying all of this to say, we don't have to think the way we used to. We have to try something new. I digress. So moving on to what I was saying, it's hard to have this condition and not have anybody around you that really, really understands what you're going through. And I want you to know, again, you are not alone, but take your mental health seriously. I cannot stress that enough. It's okay to do things differently than your mother. It's okay to do things differently than her mother. It's okay to do things differently than your friend, than your cousin now. Not enough ranting. let's sum this video up. The last thing that I wanted to mention are some solutions. Now, I already talked about getting therapy, and I stand on that wholeheartedly. But some other things that really helped me when I was in the depths, when I was in the thick of it, child. Exercising and moving my body and like getting into my body spiritually really helped me. Going on walks, going to the gym. You don't have to try to be strong, man. Just get on the elliptical machine or the treadmill or do some yoga or go for a jog if you can. I can't do that. If you have animals, take them outside. Go be in nature, okay? Medically, exercise does help with depression. Not saying that that is the solution to depression, but it definitely helps. Identifying and eliminating toxic sources of stress. People, places, and things. If you have a toxic relationship with your mother, with your neighbor, with your friend, with your husband, with your children, with whoever, and you are going through uterine fibroids and you have this issue right now, I'm here to tell you that sometimes we have to choose ourselves, even if it's just for the time being, isolating ourselves away from people who are causing us stress, because that stress is perpetuating your situation. It is not helping you to heal. You cannot heal in a state of perpetual distress. Foods, drinking, smoking, whatever it is that is your vice, you should try to stop, especially if you're drinking, self-medicating with drugs or, those types of things. It's not helping you. It is not helping you. You have to do an elimination, okay? Food, clean up your diet. I'm going to do a video about my diet and what I am eating and what I've been eating to help me manage my fibroids as well. So look out for that video. Clean up your diet. Sugar, no more. No more sugar, or at least go in doses. You know what I mean? Cut your sugar back by half, by more. Okay, so with that, you guys, I am so incredibly blessed and happy to be able to be doing these videos, and I feel such a sense of purpose and calling through you all's comments, and I know that this information is going to help somebody, because when I was looking for this type of information, I could not find it, especially in a person that looked like me. I wish you guys so much happiness, health, wealth, better periods, fatter pockets, happiness, love, stability, spiritual wellness. I want to say thank you again for all of your love and support. You guys are incredible. And if you are in this position, please understand that there is a way out. There are natural ways to heal your body. Please know that. And until the next video, that's all I got. Make sure that you comment down below, thumbs this video up, subscribe, because I'm going to be doing so many more videos about this topic, and I would hate for you guys to miss out on any information. Let me know down in the comments below if there is something that resonated with you in this video. I love you guys so very much, and I cannot wait to see you again in another video.